The city hits me like a freight train the moment I step off the bus. Horns blaring, people rushing, the smell of exhaust mixed with something greasy and unidentifiable. Central is a beast, all glass and steel scraping the sky, and I'm just one more tiny ant crawling in its shadow. I shoulder my duffel bag, trying to remember the address Uncle gave me for the job interview. Some exclusive bar downtown. Shouldn't be too hard to find, I think, but the buildings are all blending together, each one just as intimidating as the last. Promenading 7T, my phone buzzes, snapping me out of it. It's Uncle, you there yet? His text reads. Almost I reply, even though I've got no idea where I'm going. Typical me, biting off more than I can chew. As I'm typing, a motorcycle whirs past, almost clipping me. Watch it. I yell, my heart jumping into my throat. The jerk doesn't even slow down, just speeds off like he owns the place. Great. Welcome to Central, I guess. I keep walking, trying to shake off the bad vibes. But the city doesn't let up. It's like it's daring me to get lost, to give up before I've even started. I'm not about to let it win, though. Not today. Finally, I spot the bar, hidden in plain sight, between two skyscrapers, the kind of place you'd miss if you blinked. I push open the heavy door, and the noise from outside instantly mutes, replaced by the low hum of conversation, clinking glasses. It's dark, moody, and way out of my league. But I'm here now, no turning back. I square my shoulders and head to the bar, hoping whoever's in charge is more welcoming than the city itself. A woman behind the counter spots me and smiles. You must be Jaden, she says, wiping her hands on a towel. Yeah, that's me, I reply, trying to sound confident even though my nerves are starting to creep in. Have a seat. Gary will be right with you. She nods toward the bar stool. I sit feeling like the kid at the adults' table waiting for the real game to start. As I wait, I catch a glimpse of a familiar leather jacket. My stomach drops. No way. The guy from the motorcycle? Here? Before I can get a good look, a voice interrupts my thoughts. Jaden, right? It's Gary, the manager, big guy, a little older, but with a friendly face. I stand up quickly, nearly knocking over the bar stool. Yeah, that's me, I repeat, shaking his hand. His grip is firm, businesslike. Glad you made it. Let's see what you've got. He gestures to a table in the corner, and I follow, still on edge. I can feel someone watching me. Maybe it's my imagination, or maybe it's that damn biker. Gary and I sit down, and he starts flipping through my resume. You've got some experience, that's good. But working here isn't just about pouring drinks. It's about handling people, and let me tell you, the crowd here can be a handful. I'm up for it, I say, my voice steady, even though my hands are sweating under the table. Good to hear. Gary looks me in the eye, and I get the feeling he's sizing me up. You start tonight. Sky will show you the ropes. Sky. The name sounds familiar, but before I can place it, a figure looms over us. Yeah, Sky, the voice says, and I look up into the smirking face of the motorcycle jerk himself. He's got that same leather jacket, and now that I'm close enough to see, I'm sure it's him. Nice to meet you, he says, holding out his hand, the smirk never leaving his face. I don't take it. You've got to be kidding me. Gary looks between us, frowning. Is there a problem? None, Sky says smoothly. Just a misunderstanding. Right, I mutter, crossing my arms. This job just got a whole lot more interesting and complicated. The bar settles into its evening rhythm, the low hum of conversation and the occasional burst of laughter filling the air. I'm behind the counter now, trying to focus on learning the ropes, but it's impossible with Sky hovering over me. His presence, like a shadow I can't shake. So, you're from the sticks, huh? Sky says, handing me a tray loaded with drinks. His tone is casual, but there's an edge to it, like he's just waiting for me to screw up. Remind your teeth and grab the tray. Yeah, what's it to you? Nothing, he says with a shrug, but that damn smirk is back. Just curious how someone like you ends up here. Or someone like me, I repeat, already fed up with his games. What's that supposed to mean? He leans in a little closer, too close, and lowers his voice. It means you look like you're in over your head. I want to snap back, but I can't afford to lose this job before I even start. Instead, I focus on balancing the tray, determined not to let him see he's getting under my skin. I can handle it. Sure you can. Sky steps back, giving me just enough space to breathe, but his eyes are still on me, watching, waiting, table 3. Don't spill anything. I turn on my heel, ignoring the way my hands are trembling just a bit, and weave through the crowd. The bar is packed, bodies pressed together in a blur of movement and noise. The air is thick with the smell of alcohol and perfume, and I have to push past a couple of guys who've had one too many, their laughter loud and obnoxious. As I approach table 3, a hand shoots out from the crowd, grabbing my arm. The tray wobbles, and I barely manage to keep it steady. "Hey, where's our drinks?" A guy slurs, his grip tight on my wrist. "Let go," I say, trying to keep my voice calm. The last thing I need is to cause a scene. The guy's buddies laugh, egging him on. "Come on, man, he's just doing his job," one of them says, but there's no real concern in his voice. "Seriously, let go," I repeat, a little more forcefully this time. My pulse quickens, and I glance back toward the bar, hoping someone, anyone, might notice. This guy's there, leaning against the counter, watching the whole thing with a neutral expression. He doesn't move, doesn't lift a finger to help, just waits to see how I'm going to handle it. Fine, I'll handle it myself. I yank my arm free, a sudden motion causing a drink to slosh over the side of the glass. "You'll get your drinks when I say so." I snap, my patience wearing thin. The guy blinks, taken aback, and for a moment, I think he might actually back off. But then he grins, and I know I'm in trouble. "Feisty, huh? I like that." Before he can grab me again, a sharp voice cuts through the noise. "Leave him alone, or you're out of here." Sky. He's still standing behind the bar, but now there's a dangerous glint in his eyes, a hardness to his voice that wasn't there before. The guy hesitates, then finally lets go, mumbling something under his breath. His friends pull him back to their table, and just like that, the moment passes, but my heart's still pounding, my nerves on edge. I make it to table 3 without further incident, but when I return to the bar, Sky's waiting for me, his expression unreadable. "Not bad, country boy," he says, nodding slightly, "but you gotta be quicker on your feet." I narrow my eyes at him. "I didn't need your help." "Maybe not," he agrees, though there's a hint of amusement in his voice. "But it doesn't hurt to have backup." I don't know what to say to that, so I just shrug and grab another tray, focusing on the next task. But something shifted between us, something I can't quite put my finger on. And as much as I hate to admit it, I'm starting to see why Sky's the one in charge around here. Still, I can't shake the feeling that he's testing me, pushing me just to see how far I'll go before I break. Well, if that's the game he wants to play, I'm not backing down. Not now, not ever. But as I catch Sky watching me from the corner of his eye, that smirk still playing on his lips, I can't help but wonder, just what is he after? And why does it feel like this is only the beginning? By the time my shift ends, I'm exhausted, but the adrenaline from the night still buzzes under my skin. Sky's been on my case all night, making sure I don't miss a beat, don't spill a single drink. And every time I think I've got a handle on things, he throws something new at me, a complicated order, a rowdy group, something to keep me on my toes. I'm not sure if he's trying to make me better or just trying to break me. Maybe both. As I wipe down the last table, Sky strolls over, a fresh beer in hand. He takes a long sip, watching me with that same unreadable expression. "Not bad for your first night," he says, his tone almost complimentary, but I'm not sure, and I'm too tired to care. "Thanks," I mumble, focusing on the smudged glass I'm polishing. I just want to finish up and get out of here, away from Sky's constant scrutiny. But of course, he's not done with me yet. You know, most new hires don't last their first week here. Too much pressure, too many assholes to deal with. I glance up, meeting his eyes. Is that supposed to scare me off? "Not at all," he says, leaning against the bar. "Just making sure you know what you're in for." I set down the glass, feeling my temper flare up again. "Look, if you're trying to intimidate me or whatever, it's not going to work. I'm here to do my job, not play games." Sky's smile widens, but it doesn't reach his eyes. "Who said anything about games, Jaden?" "Cut the crap, Sky," I snap, stepping closer. "You've been messing with me since I got here. What's your problem?" For a moment, I think he's going to blow me off with another smirk and a snide comment, but then his expression shifts. Just a fraction, but enough to catch me off guard. "No problem. Just wanted to see what you're made of." I blink, thrown by the sudden honesty. And, he says, setting down his beer, "You've got potential. But potential doesn't mean shit if you can't handle the pressure. Is that why you've been pushing me all night, to see if I'll crack?" "Partly," he admits, crossing his arms, "but also because I needed to know if you can keep up." I want to argue, to tell him off for being such a jerk, but there's something in his voice that stops me. Maybe it's the hint of respect I didn't expect to hear, Or maybe it's the realization that, for all his tough talk, Sky's not just screwing around. He's serious. "So did I pass your little test?" I ask, trying to keep the sarcasm out of my voice. Sky shrugs. "For now. But the real test comes later." I frown. "What's that supposed to mean?" He pushes off the bar, grabbing his helmet from the counter. "It means I'll see you tomorrow night. Same time, same place." And with that, he's gone, leaving me standing there, more confused than ever. As I watch him leave, I can't shake the feeling that there's something he's not telling me, something more behind those piercing eyes and that infuriating smirk. I hate how much he gets under my skin, how he makes me second-guess myself at every turn. But at the same time, I'm starting to realize that maybe, just maybe, he's exactly what I need to survive in this city. I gather my things and head out into the night, the cool air hitting my face like a wake-up call. As I walk back to my uncle's place, Sky's words replay in my mind over and over. The real test comes later. I don't know what he's planning, but whatever it is, I'm not backing down. If he thinks he can scare me off, he's dead wrong. I came here to prove myself, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. But as I reach the front door, I pause, a nagging thought creeping in. What if this isn't just about the job? What if Sky's testing me for something more, something I'm not ready for? I shake it off, pushing the door open and stepping inside. Whatever Sky's up to, I'll deal with it tomorrow. Right now, all I need is sleep. But as I lie in bed, staring up at the ceiling, I can't help but wonder, what the hell have I gotten myself into? The next few nights at the bar are a blur of noise, orders, and Sky's constant presence. He's everywhere, correcting me, watching me, making sure I don't miss a step. It's like he's a shadow, always one move ahead, and I'm getting sick of it. But I can't deny that he's pushing me to be better, sharper, more aware. And that's what I want. It's a Friday night, and the bar is packed. The crowd is rowdier than usual, the music louder, and I'm hustling to keep up with the drink orders. Sky's at the counter, mixing cocktails with a precision that I can't help but admire, even if he is a smug bastard about it. Table 7 needs a refill. Sky calls over his shoulder, not even looking up from the shaker in his hand. On it, I reply, grabbing the tray and making my way through the throng of people. The energy in the bar is electric, and I can feel it buzzing in my veins, pushing me to move faster, work harder. I weave between tables, balancing the tray like it's second nature now. I'm getting the hang of this. As I approach table 7, I notice a group of women huddled together, their laughter rising above the music. One of them, a blonde with a tight dress and a mischievous smile, locks eyes with me. She nudges her friend, and they both start whispering, eyes darting my way. "Here you go, ladies," I say, setting down their drinks. I'm about to turn and leave when the blonde grabs my arm, pulling me closer. "What's your name, cutie?" She purrs, her breath smelling like a mix of tequila and bad decisions. "Jaden," I say, trying to pull my arm back gently. "Enjoy your drinks." "Don't be in such a rush," she says, her grip tightening. Her friends giggle, clearly enjoying the show. "Why don't you sit with us for a bit? We could use some company." I really should. I start, but she cuts me off. "Aw, come on. We're just having a little fun." Her hand slides down my arm, and I freeze. This is not what I signed up for. Before I can figure out how to extricate myself, a voice cuts through the laughter. "Jaden, your help's needed at the bar." Sky. He's standing a few feet away, his eyes locked on the blonde's hand, his expression unreadable. But there's a hardness in his voice that wasn't there before. The blonde pouts, but fine, let's go. "Guess you're off the hook, Jaden, for now." I mutter a quick thanks and hurry back to the bar, my heart pounding for reasons I don't fully understand. Sky is back to mixing drinks, not even acknowledging me as I slip behind the counter. "Nice save," I say, trying to sound casual as I start wiping down glasses. "Didn't look like you needed saving," Sky replies, his tone clipped. I glance at him, surprised. "I had it under control." "Sure you did," he says, but there's something in his voice that makes me think he's not talking about the blonde anymore. For a moment, we work in silence, the noise of the bar filling the space between us. I should just let it go, but something about Sky's reaction nags at me. It's like there's more to this than just a customer getting too handsy. Finally, I can't take it anymore. "What's your deal, Sky?" He doesn't answer right away, just keeps working, his hands moving with practiced ease. "What do you mean?" "This," I say, gesturing between us. "You've been on my case since I got here. and now you're acting like I did something wrong when I didn't. Sky sets down the bottle he's holding and turns to face me. You think this is easy, Jaden, working here, dealing with people like that? No, I don't, I snap. But I'm doing my best, and if that's not good enough for you, then maybe you should. You think I'm hard on you because I don't like you? He interrupts, his voice low, dangerous. Honestly, I don't know what to think, I admit, frustration bubbling over. Sky takes a step closer, and suddenly the space between us feels too small. I'm hard on you because I see potential in you, Jaden. But potential means nothing if you don't know how to handle yourself. You can't just charm your way through this job. You have to be tougher, smarter. I get that, I say, trying to hold my ground. But why do you care so much? For a second, something flashes in Sky's eyes. Something that looks a lot like vulnerability. But then it's gone, replaced by his usual guarded expression. Because I've been where you are, he says quietly. And I don't want to see you screw it up. I'm stunned into silence. I didn't expect that. Didn't expect any of this, really. Sky's been nothing but a pain in my ass since day one, but now I'm starting to see there's more to him than just the tough exterior. Before I can respond, a loud crash interrupts us, followed by a chorus of shouts. We both turn to see a fight breaking out near the entrance, a couple of drunk guys swinging at each other, knocking over tables in the process. Shit, Sky mutters, already moving toward the chaos. He pauses, glancing back at me. You coming? Yeah, I say, snapping out of my daze and following him into the fray. The fight's over almost as quickly as it started, with Sky and a couple of bouncers breaking it up before it can get too out of hand. But as we're cleaning up the mess, I can't stop thinking about what he said, about the way his voice softened when he admitted he's been where I am. Maybe I've been wrong about Sky. Maybe there's more to this job and to him than I realized. And maybe, just maybe, there's something here worth sticking around for. The next night at the bar, things feel different. Sky's still pushing me. But there's something else simmering beneath the surface now. A tension that wasn't there before, or maybe it was, and I just didn't notice. Every interaction, every glance seems charged, like we're both waiting for something to tip the balance. It's late, and the crowd has thinned out. Most of the tables are empty, leaving only a few stragglers nursing their last drinks. Sky and I are behind the bar, cleaning up, and the silence between us is heavy, almost suffocating. I can't stop thinking about what he said last night, about seeing potential in me, about not wanting me to screw up. It's messing with my head, making me question everything. Why he's been so hard on me. Why he cares, why I care what he thinks. I need to get out of my own head, so I start stacking glasses, trying to focus on the simple, repetitive task. But it's no use. Sky's presence is like a magnet pulling my thoughts back to him, back to the unspoken thing between us. You're quiet tonight, Sky says, breaking the silence. He's wiping down the counter, his movements slow and deliberate. We're just tired, I lie, not looking up. Bullshit, he says, his voice calm but firm. Something's on your mind. I hesitate, feeling the weight of his gaze on me. This is it. The moment where I either say something or keep pretending that nothing's going on. But the more I think about it, the more I realize I'm done pretending. I'm done playing it safe. I set down the glass in my hand and finally meet his eyes. Why do you care so much, Sky? About me? About whether I make it here? He doesn't answer right away, just looks at me like he's deciding how much to let me in. Finally, he sighs and leans against the counter, crossing his arms, because I know what it's like to feel out of place, like you're constantly trying to prove yourself. And I know how easy it is to mess up when you don't have anyone watching your back. His honesty hits me harder than I expected, and for a moment, I don't know what to say. I've been so focused on proving myself, on not letting him get to me, that I never considered he might actually be trying to help. But now that I know, it changes everything. And what if I don't want your help? I ask, though the words come out softer than I intended. Sky's eyes narrow slightly, but there's no anger in them, just something I can't quite name. Then you can walk out of here right now, and I won't stop you. But if you stay, you need to know what you're getting into. My heart skips a beat, the implication of his words hanging in the air between us. This isn't just about the job anymore, and we both know it. It's about something deeper, something I've been trying to ignore but can't any longer. And what exactly am I getting into, Sky? I ask, stepping closer, my pulse quickening. Sky doesn't move, doesn't break eye contact. Something that could be a hell of a lot more complicated than just working together. His words send a shiver down my spine, and suddenly, the choice before me is crystal clear. I can keep things professional, keep my distance, and avoid the mess that's clearly waiting for me if I cross that line. Or I can take a chance, risk everything, and see where this tension between us leads. It's a risk I never imagined taking when I first walked into this bar. But now, standing here with Sky, I can't deny the pull I feel, the part of me that wants to know what happens if I don't walk away. I take a deep breath, my heart pounding in my chest. I'm not walking out. Sky's expression doesn't change, but I see something flicker in his eyes, something that looks a lot like relief. Then you need to be sure, Jaden, because if we go down this road, there's no turning back. I know he's right. Once I make this decision, there's no undoing it. But for the first time in a long time, I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. I'm sure I say, my voice steady. Whatever happens, I'm not running. Sky watches me for a long moment, and then slowly he nods. All right then, his voice is soft, but there's a finality to it that makes my pulse quicken again. And just like that, the air between us shifts, the tension coiling tighter, ready to snap. I don't know what's going to happen next, but I know it's going to change everything. The rest of the night passes in a blur. The bar closes, the lights dim, and the few remaining customers filter out into the night. But Sky and I don't say another word, don't make another move. It's like we're both waiting for the right moment, the right time to let whatever this is between us unfold. As I step out into the cool night air, Sky close behind me, I realize that this is just the beginning. I've made my choice, and now there's no going back. The bar is nearly empty, the lights low, and the music reduced to a soft murmur that barely fills the silence between us. Sky's been unusually quiet all night, his usual sharp remarks and smirks replaced by a kind of focused intensity that I can't quite figure out. It's making me nervous, but not in the way I would have expected. There's an anticipation humming in the air, something that's been building between us for days, and it's about to come to a head. The last customer stumbles out, and I lock the door behind him, the click echoing in the empty bar. When I turn back, Sky's watching me, leaning against the counter with that same unreadable expression. But this time, there's no crowd, no distractions, just the two of us and whatever this thing is that's been hanging between us. I take a deep breath, crossing the room to where he stands. So, now what? The question hangs in the air, loaded with all the possibilities I've been trying not to think about. Sky doesn't answer right away. Instead, he steps closer, his eyes never leaving mine. When he finally speaks, his voice is low, almost a whisper. Now we see if you're really as sure as you say you are. My heart skips a beat. This is it, the moment I've been half dreading, half craving since that first night. I could still back out, still walk away and keep things professional. But the way he's looking at me, the way my pulse is racing, I know I won't. I'm sure, I say. And it's the most honest thing I've said all night. Sky's eyes darken, and before I can process what's happening, he closes the distance between us. His hand finds the back of my neck, pulling me in, and then his lips are on mine, hard and demanding, like he's been holding back as much as I have. The kiss is electric, sending a jolt of heat through my entire body. For a split second, I freeze, shocked by the intensity of it, but then I'm kissing him back just as fiercely, my hands gripping his shoulders like I might fall if I don't hold on. There's no hesitation, no second guessing. It's like everything we've been holding back, all the tension and frustration, is pouring out in this one moment. The bar, the job, the complications, none of it matters anymore. All I can think about is the way Sky's mouth moves against mine, the way his hands slide down my back, pulling me closer until there's no space left between us. We stumble back, knocking into the counter, and I barely notice the sting in my hip because Sky's right there, his lips trailing down my jaw, his breath hot against my skin. My mind's a blur, and I'm not sure if I'm thinking at all anymore, just feeling heat, desire, the thrill of something I shouldn't want but can't resist. Sky pulls back just enough to look at me, or his eyes searching mine for something, confirmation maybe, or permission to keep going. I don't know what he sees, but whatever it is, it makes his grip tighten, his resolve harden. This isn't just a one-time thing, Jaden, he says, his voice rough. If we do this, it changes everything. I nod, swallowing hard. I know. Then tell me to stop if you're not ready. His words are a challenge, but there's a softness to them, too, a chance for me to pull back, to keep things from going too far. But I don't want to stop. I've come this far, and even though I know this could complicate everything, my job, my life, I can't bring myself to care. Not when Sky's looking at me like that, not when I can still taste him on my lips. Don't stop, I say, my voice barely above a whisper, but the conviction behind it is undeniable. Sky's response is immediate. His mouth crashes back onto mine, and this time there's nothing holding either of us back. It's fast, messy, and I can feel the urgency in the way he moves, like we've both been waiting for this for too long. We make it to the back room, a trail of clothes marking our path, and by the time Sky pushes me against the wall, I'm lost in him. In the way his hands feel on my skin, the way he's whispering my name like it's the only thing that matters. It's intense, raw, and every thought I had about keeping things simple is obliterated by the reality of Sky, of us. Whatever happens after this, whatever complications we're going to have to face, I know one thing for sure, I don't regret a single second of it. When it's over, we're both breathless, our bodies tangled together in the dim light of the back room. Sky's hand is still on my neck, his thumb tracing small circles against my skin as we catch our breath. For a long moment, neither of us speaks. There's no need to, we both know what this means, how everything's about to change. And for once, I'm not scared. Not of Sky, not of what comes next. Finally, Sky breaks the silence. You okay? Yeah, I reply, my voice still a little shaky, more than okay. He chuckles, a sound that's surprisingly warm, and pulls me closer. Good. Because we're in this together now, whether you like it or not. I smile, closing my eyes and letting myself relax against him. I think I can handle that. And just like that, the tension that's been building between us for days breaks, replaced by something else. Something deeper, something real. Whatever comes next, I know we'll face it together. The morning after feels like a dream I'm not ready to wake up from. The sun's barely up, and the bar is quiet, the kind of quiet that only exists in the early hours before the world starts moving. Sky's still asleep beside me, his arm draped across my chest, his breath steady and warm against my neck. It's a strange kind of peace, the kind I didn't know I needed until now. But as I lie there, reality starts to creep back in. What happened last night? It wasn't just a fling. It wasn't something I can brush off and forget about once the sun's up. It was real, and it changes everything. I gently move Sky's arm, slipping out of bed without waking him. I need some space to think, to figure out what the hell I'm going to do now. I grab my clothes and head out into the bar, the floor cool against my bare feet. The place is empty, still carrying the echoes of last night's chaos, but it's nothing compared to the noise in my head. I sit down at the counter, running a hand through my hair, trying to piece together the mess of thoughts swirling around in my brain. This isn't just about us. It's about the job, the risks, the fact that I've crossed a line I can't uncross, and I know that as much as I don't want to admit it. Things aren't going to be simple from here on out. The door to the back room creaks open, and I turn to see Sky standing there, already dressed, his hair tousled in a way that makes my chest tighten. He gives me a small, sleepy smile, but there's a question in his eyes, too, one I don't know how to answer. You're up early, he says, his voice still rough from sleep as he walks over to join me at the counter. Yeah, I reply, my tone more guarded than I intended, just needed some air. Sky leans against the counter, studying me, regrets. No, I say quickly, and I mean it, but we need to talk about what happens now. He nods, his expression turning serious. Yeah, we do. The weight of it all starts to settle in. I don't want to mess this up, Sky. I don't want things to get weird between us, especially not at work. They won't, he says firmly, but there's a shadow of doubt in his eyes. But we have to be smart about this. Gary can't know, not yet. I swallow knowing he's right. Gary's been good to me, gave me a chance when I needed it most. And the last thing I want to do is screw that up by getting involved with Sky. But keeping this a secret, it's not going to be easy. And what if he finds out? I ask, the question hanging heavy between us. Sky's jaw tightens, then we deal with it. Together, but for now we keep things quiet. No one needs to know what's going on between us. I nod slowly, but there's a part of me that hates the idea of hiding, of pretending that what happened last night doesn't matter as much as it does. But I don't have a choice. Not if I want to keep my job, not if I want to keep whatever this is with Sky from falling apart before it even begins. Okay, I say finally meeting his gaze. We'll keep it quiet, but if it starts to get too complicated, we'll figure it out, Sky interrupts, his tone leaving no room for argument. We'll figure it out, Jaden. I'm not letting this, whatever this is, go without a fight. His words should reassure me, but instead, they make the knot in my stomach tighten. This is already more complicated than I ever imagined, and the thought of what could go wrong is enough to make me second-guess everything. But then Sky reaches out, his hand finding mine, and the touch steadies me, reminds me why I'm doing this in the first place. I don't want to lose you. I admit, the words slipping out before I can stop them. But I don't want to lose this job either. You won't, Sky says, squeezing my hand. We'll keep it together. We just have to be careful. But as much as I want to believe him, I can't shake the feeling that we're walking a tightrope, one wrong move away from disaster. And as the day wears on and the bar starts to fill up again, that tension only grows. Every glance, every touch feels like a risk, like we're daring the universe to catch us. By the time the night is in full swing, I'm on edge, my mind racing with all the ways this could blow up in our faces. And then, just as I'm starting to think we might actually pull this off, Gary walks in. Jaden, he calls out, waving me over. Got a minute? I freeze, panic surging through me, but I force myself to nod and head over to where he's standing near the entrance. Sky's watching from behind the bar, his expression unreadable, but I can feel the tension radiating off him. What's up? I ask, trying to keep my voice steady. Gary claps a hand on my shoulder, smiling. Just wanted to check in, see how you're settling in. Sky's been giving me good reports. I let out a breath I didn't realize I was holding. Yeah, it's going well. Still getting the hang of things, but I'm getting there. Good, Gary says, his smile widening. Listen, I've been meaning to talk to you about some opportunities coming up. We're expanding, and I think you'd be a good fit for a new role we're opening. My heart skips a beat. This is what I've been working for, what I've been hoping for since I got here. But as Gary continues talking, all I can think about is Sky, about what this new role might mean for us, for the secret we're trying to keep. I'll think about it, I say, forcing a smile. Thanks, Gary. Take your time, he says, giving my shoulder a squeeze before heading back into the bar. As soon as he's gone, I let out a shaky breath, my mind spinning. This is exactly what I wanted, a chance to prove myself, to make something of this job. But now that it's here, all I can think about are the risks, the complications that come with it. I glance back at Sky, and our eyes meet across the room. There's no going back now, no pretending that things can stay the way they were. We're in too deep, and whatever happens next, it's going to test everything, our trust, our resolve, and the fragile thing we've started to build between us. The choice I made last night set all of this in motion, and now, with Gary's offer hanging over me, I have to make another one. Do I keep pushing forward, risking everything for a shot at something real with Sky? Or do I play it safe, keep my head down, and hope that we can keep this from spiraling out of control? But as I stand there, watching Sky from across the bar, I know that there's no easy answer, no simple path forward. And for the first time since this whole thing started, I'm not sure if I'm ready for what comes next. The next few days feel like walking a tightrope. Every step, every decision, balancing between what I want and what I'm afraid of losing. Gary's offer is all I can think about, the opportunity to move up, to finally prove that I belong here. But with that offer comes a weight I wasn't expecting. The fear that taking it could unravel everything Sky and I have tried to keep together. Sky's been quieter than usual, the tension between us thick enough to cut with a knife. We both know that Gary's offer is a game changer, but neither of us has brought it up. It's like we're waiting, each of us hoping the other will make the first move, break the silence, and say what we're both thinking. Finally, after a long shift, when the bar is empty and it's just the two of us left to close up, I can't keep it in any longer. Sky's wiping down the counter, his back to me, and I know if I don't say something now, I might never have the courage to. Sky, I start, my voice sounding too loud in the quiet bar. He stops, but doesn't turn around, waiting for me to continue. We need to talk about Gary's offer. Gary slowly turns to face me, his expression guarded. Yeah, I figured we would. I take a deep breath, stepping closer. It's a big opportunity, Sky. Something I've been working toward since I got here. The person nods, but there's something in his eyes. Something that looks a lot like resignation. I know. You should take it, Jaden. You've earned it. His words catch me off guard, and for a moment, I don't know how to respond. But what about us? What happens if I take it? We're already on thin ice, and this could make things a whole lot more complicated. Sky's jaw tightens, and he looks away, like he's considering his next words carefully. Look, Jaden, I won't lie to you. It's going to be tough. But we knew that going in, nothing about this was ever going to be easy. I don't want to lose you, I admit, the words slipping out before I can stop them, but I don't want to give up on this job either. I don't want to have to choose. Sky's eyes soften, and he steps closer, his hand reaching out to take mine. You won't lose me, he says quietly. But you can't let fear hold you back, Jaden. You're good at this, and you deserve the chance to prove it. But what if it all falls apart? I ask, my voice barely above a whisper. What if we can't keep this up, and everything crashes down around us? Sky squeezes my hand, his grip firm and reassuring. Then we deal with it together. But you can't keep waiting for the other shoe to drop, or you'll never move forward. You'll never know what you're capable of. I want to believe him, want to trust that we can make this work, but the doubt is still there, gnawing at me. And what about Gary? What happens when he finds out? Sky's expression hardens, and for a moment, I see a flash of the stubborn, confident man I first met. Then we face it. I'm not afraid of what Gary thinks, and you shouldn't be either. If he can't handle us being together, then that's his problem, not ours. His words sink in, the weight of them settling over me. He's right. I've been so focused on what could go wrong that I haven't let myself think about what could go right. I've been scared of taking a risk of stepping into the unknown, but maybe that's exactly what I need to do. Okay, I say, finally, meeting his eyes. I'll take the job. But we have to be smart about this. We can't let it get in the way of what we have. Sky smiles, a real, genuine smile that makes my heart skip a beat. We will. And whatever happens, we'll figure it out. I nod, feeling a sense of calm wash over me. This is the right decision. I can feel it. I'm not going to let fear hold me back, not from the job and not from Sky. The next day, I tell Gary I'm in. He's thrilled already, talking about new responsibilities, new challenges, but all I can think about is how I'm going to make this work, how I'm going to balance everything without letting it fall apart. The first few weeks are a whirlwind, long hours, new tasks, a steep learning curve. But through it all, Sky's there, steady and supportive, even when things get tough. We're careful, keeping our relationship under wraps, but it doesn't feel like we're hiding. It feels like we're protecting something precious, something worth fighting for. And for the first time since I stepped into this bar, I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. It's not easy, nothing worth having ever is, but it's real and it's ours. One night, after a particularly long shift, we're back at Sky's place, the two of us tangled up on the couch, exhausted but content. Sky's arm is around me, his hand resting on my chest, and I realize that for the first time in a long time, I'm not worried about what comes next. I'm not waiting for the other shoe to drop. We did it, I say softly, my voice barely breaking the silence. Sky looks at me, his eyes soft in the dim light. Yeah, we did. And as I close my eyes, feeling the steady rise and fall of his chest against mine, I know that whatever comes next, we'll face it together. We've made our choice, taken the risk, and now all that's left is to see where it takes us.